Hi, TJ.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Have you ever done anything like this before, where you've had kind of in this kind of residency environment?
I took part in RBMA a couple of years ago, but it was kind of different. Stekker has a lot more old and weird synths, whereas RBMA was more focused on collaboration. I feel like there was a bit less potential for happy accidents somehow. Not so much like broken stuff or stuff that has like more idiosyncrasies in character. I somehow imagined it being more of a recording studio complex rather than like this old theater with a lot of spaces that you can set up in.
In terms of the stuff that you've kind of got your hands on this week, gear-wise, were there any pieces that kind of really stuck out? And has that been quite, I suppose, liberating maybe, to get your hands on stuff that's you usually don't get the chance to?
It hasn't. I mean, it's been really liberating in that it's been very nice to have such an arsenal of equipment at my disposal to try out things that I wouldn't normally be able to try out with a minimum of time invested, you know, like they've got all of the kind of cables and connectivity and interfacing that I could possibly need here, so it's really simple to just like go upstairs and grab a synth and a couple of cables and plug it in. It's not liberating in that I'm not very good at writing melodies, so something like the Syrinx, which is a very, I think it kind of excels at like leads. The fact that I'm not great with writing melodies from scratch means that normally that's actually the kind of synth that I'd find more useful as a soft synth, because with the formant filter on the Syrinx, it's got this really kind of resonant, like squelchy, talky filter. That's something that it would be really nice to be able to automate, and really control down to the last detail, and do that like even in the later stages of a production, rather than record a part that you're then stuck with for the rest of the process. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say liberating, but that's fine, because it's more about inspiration at this stage. I mean, coming here, the first thing that I went for was recommendations on weird sounding machines. Like, I'm not really that interested in picking up like the classic analog polysynths or the really classic drum machines, because, you know, first of all, I've got a Jupiter 6 at home, and second of all, like I feel like I've played around enough with that kind of stuff, and I wanted to have a go on instruments that don't sound like anything else, and that I wouldn't be likely to see again at any point in the near future. So I tried the Syrinx, which was really cool. I played around on the Simmons SD8 800 for a while, which is the kind of
Drum brain thing.
Yeah, it's not really FM. I mean, it's analog, but it has kind of FM qualities to it. Like the two toms have two oscillators that you can ring modulate, so it sounds quite metallic and weird and freaky. I was having some fun with that. I've got a DX7 here, which is admittedly pretty classic, but I wanted to record some like chimes and bells and glassy sounds, and I don't actually have that much experience with like hardware FM synths, so I was kind of curious to see if there was much to it that I couldn't get out of something like FM8 in the box. Also, this Z1 here has been really cool for pads and really over-the-top 90s ARPs and kind of digital synth sounds.
When you're like not in this sort of environment and you're just at home working on productions, how does the production process kind of go from start to finish?
Well, part of the problem that I'm having now is that I can never really remember what an efficient production process looks like for me, and I haven't really managed to narrow it down into something that always works. I mean, I take a long time to finish music, and the process is very iterative. And it involves a lot of like throwing stuff away and starting again. So usually my starting point is something that I won't end up keeping, or like the only thing that will remain from the original sketch will be some like heavily processed stem that doesn't sound anything like the original part. At home, I usually spend a lot of time pushing pixels around on Ableton, like incrementally improving things until I get closer and closer to something that sounds finished, and then realize actually this isn't finished at all, it's really crap. I need to kind of start again, and then I'll change something fairly major, like replace all the drums or replace the bass line, and then everything will go a bit crazy for a while, like the gain staging will be all wrong, the mixdown will be all out of whack, and then I'll kind of start gradually tightening it up again, and then usually I'll realize again that I'm not happy with it, and the process repeats and repeats. It's a slow, cumbersome and tedious process, yeah. And one of the things that I was hoping to maybe address here is like whether I can speed that up a bit, whether there's any bits of equipment or workflows or techniques that I can have a go at that would get me to that point, closer to that point at the end sooner, rather than having to go through all of these iterations.
So have you kind of been speaking to other people at the event about their process, and had any kind of like eureka sort of moments where someone said something and you thought, I've never tried that, but that might work for me?
A little bit, but not really. But I did have a kind of eureka moment earlier where I realized that I'd been trying to make. I've been focusing too much on writing ARPs, when actually none of my music really uses ARPs that much, and I'd somehow forgotten this. This is kind of what I mean when I say that like I haven't been writing music often enough for the last 18 months or so that I've kind of forgotten forgotten what works and what doesn't, and this is something that just comes with practice. And like I say, it's because I've been really busy with other things, but I'm trying to get back into it now.